you have to look for if you're going to write a family story, it's going to be mostly boring unless you get to the root of the conflicts between people, mother, father, son, daughter, etc., grandmother, grandfather. That's where it lies. And digging for conflict is the most painful thing. In writing, when I'm writing or co-writing, I'm really suffering because actually I'm going on the page. I'm going through these battles, and I know when something's boring. I know when I'm missing, and I feel that it's because I'm not pushing hard enough. Now, that's not to say you create artificial conflict. You have to create natural conflict, and it exists. There are conflicts, but sometimes we don't see them. They're beneath the surface. In Vietnam, we saw them immediately, but in other films, sometimes it's hard to see, like Wall Street. You don't see the Wall Street conflicts unless you look. And then money becomes the source of a lot of conflict. Well, what we had on our side was it was a search for the truth. Now, whether you think I'm crazy or not, actually, I believe this. I believe that Kennedy was killed by very criminal forces in our government, and I really wanted to make this point. And because it's such a giant point, you have to go about it gradually. You build the audience into an acceptability of it. This could happen. And the search for truth is a motivating factor in most of my screenplays and most of my movies. It works like you want to know more. You find out a little bit in a good tension story. You find out a little bit, and you want, well, what happens next? And then that takes you to the next, and the next, and the next, and it gets bigger, and it gets bigger. And before you know it, the whole world is involved. Not at all, not at all. I enjoy getting attention, but a good, well-made movie gets attention. No, controversy is ugly and very damaging, and it's the nature of what happens because I'm interested in subject matter that other people are also, and they don't agree with me. And that's the way it is. I can't get away from it. So whatever I do, I seem to have a way of doing things that irritates some people. Now, Tom Hanks has another way of doing things, and he makes everybody like him. But I'm just not able to make a Tom Hanks movie. So it's a nice quality to be loved by all, but it just hasn't happened to me yet. Well, the bad guy gets the good lines, generally speaking. You know that's the truth about movies. Always the villains work harder to have fun. The good guys have a harder time having fun. Any veteran who lived through Vietnam would have been, what is it all about? We never learned anything. Bush evaded the draft. He did a lousy record in the National Guard. He went to Yale with me. He should have been in Vietnam. He would have learned a lesson, but he didn't go. Neither did Cheney or any of these chicken hawks. They dragged us into another war. And all the veterans, they didn't listen to any single veteran who talked about this is a huge mistake. Iraq was a mistake. Afghanistan was a mistake, sending so many troops. It's been a mistake after mistake after mistake. And we don't learn anything. So how frustrating is it? The end of this movie is about memory. What memory do we have collectively?
When you start out, when you're making a film.
So, if you want to understand me, I think you understand me very simply right now, and that's the passion that's in me at my age still. It gets me fucking angry. And to the day I die, with my dying breath, I will fight these bastards.